It is a terrible tragedy that that young man, Tony Robinson, lost his life. It is also a terrible tragedy that the law enforcement officer involved had to use deadly force to protect himself that day. Everything that day was a horrible tragedy, and I do think it fits in well with the discussion we're having about drugs, because that day there was a bad guy, and the bad guy was the drugs that what sounds like otherwise a very promising young man used that day. And it appears that that affected his behavior in profound ways. The officer was acting within the policies and requirements of his duties. Therefore, he's covered by his municipality. And it's the same for any officer when they're doing their job.
There are elements in which the police chief is consulted or collaborated with in terms of what our wishes are, what our intentions are. And clearly, a settlement was nowhere ever in my nomenclature. Each and every time that I was asked from a practitioner level, did we want to settle, each and every time, and unequivocally that answer was resoundingly no. The process is driven, quite frankly, by risk managers, insurance companies, accountants, and suits, lawyers. No amount of money is ever going to equate with or compensate adequately the loss, the pain, and the grief that the Robinson family has to contend with. At best, this is a hollow judgment because they will never have the companionship and the love of their son, their grandson, their friend, their brother, their cousin, you name it. But similarly, this is an officer who has basically had his career marooned and placed on a desert island for the last 2 years, subject to the court of public opinion. And to that extent, does this have a chilling effect on policing? Yes. From a recruiting standpoint, of course it does. Let's all be adult about it. This has implications beyond the pale of a case that has no legal precedent, but it certainly has a shelf life, and that's what my next step is, trying to deal with that.